song sung at the death of a person. I have ode, liturgy, elegy and sonnet, right? So most of you have come back and said option C, which is correct, right? That is our answer. But what's an ode? An ode can be some sort of a poem, of whatever length. A liturgy usually is used for religious worship, public religious worship, right? A sonnet, it's like a 14-line verse. Okay, so obviously the song sung at the death of a person is this. So an ode is a lyric poem, right, of whatever length. So an ode is usually, the theme or the message is very, very serious or meditative in nature. So it has like a very serious or meditative nature, an ode. Liturgy, on the other hand, it's a set of forms prescribed specifically for public religious worship. A sonnet, on the other hand, is a 14-line verse. So basically, the 14-line verse will have some rhyming in it. So after the 8th or 12th line, set of forms, F-O-R, not form, set of forms prescribed for public religious worship. A person between two reigns, as in ruling, right? To reign in this particular kingdom, to rule a kingdom between two reigns. Remember earlier when we used to look at a couple of things that you can quickly apply here is a little bit of root words, right? If you notice death of a king, death of a father, mother, brother, sister, right? And that regicide comes, if you remember that word, right? So R-E-G is usually used for a king in terms of reigning or kingdom. So in that category, just applying a little bit of root words, I will go with A. And anyway, it says between two. So it has to be inter. And because we're talking about reigns as in two kingdoms or two eras ruling the kingdom, right? Interregnum is the answer. Intermission, we all know. It's like a break, an interval, right? Anachronism. I'm sure that's a new word and you're not familiar with that word. Anachronism means something that happens in a sequence, right? That has some sort of a chronological order. So basically, it represents some person either who existed or somebody which happened in a particular sequence, in a historical order or a chronological order. That's anachronism. Chronism, as in I took this root and I said chronological historical order, but because we have the prefix ana, which means other than chronological or historical order. So basically, anachronism represents, let me write it clearly so you don't get confused, represents someone who exists or something that happens out of, like somebody mentioned it, out of time, out of chronology, out of order. That happens other than, because we have the ana prefix, other than proper order. Proper or chronological or historical. Era, on the other hand, is a period of time from a specific date. 16th era, yeah, exactly. Whatever examples. A person extremely desirous of money. This is an easy one, right? Options are extravagant, miser, fervent, avaricious. Extravagant, you already know. Somebody who spends excess money. Miser, somebody who is a stingy person, who does not spend money at all. Fervent, if somebody is fervent in something, which means they're very keen on it, they're very eager to do it, they're very zealous, right? Ardent, these are all the words that I can come up with for fervent. Avaricious, on the other hand, means someone who desires money. I'm sure there's a root to it, I haven't looked it up. right? OUS, the suffix means full of something, right? And in this case, we're referring to somebody who's very greedy. Yeah. So avaricious is our answer. A person who has had one or more limbs removed. One or more limbs removed. Our options are amputee, handicap, limber, fatalist or fatalist rather. So amputated, I'm familiar with that word. Amputated means limb has been removed. So because I'm familiar with that verb, it's easy for me to relate to it because amputee refers to the person. So that's what it needs. So I'll go with option A. Handicap, we know, some sort of a disadvantage or inconvenience you have. Limber, flexible, easily, as a verb, it means to bend or flex, be able to bend or flex easily. Somebody who's very limber. Pliable. Fatalist, somebody who thinks that everything happens because of fate, right? So he thinks because it's your fate and you can do nothing about it. That's a person who believes in fate. Yeah, our answer anyway is amputee. Pliable means easily breakable, like I said, something that can be bent or flexed easily. So when I say pliable, I'm referring to something that can be broken easily, right? That's the meaning of pliable. It's the same meaning actually, easily bent or shaped. So you can adjust to anything, right? You can even refer this to a person also. If you say somebody is very pliable, which means they are very easily influenced, right? They can be persuaded, they can be controlled. That's the meaning of pliable. See, amputee is a deliberate thing, right? Handicap is uncontrollable. No, you don't want to be handicapped, right? If you look at it says who has had one or more limbs removed. So intentionally this has been done. A handicap on the other hand, nobody wants to intentionally be handicapped, right? That doesn't make sense. So it can't be handicapped. Are you following? Handicapped is you're either born with it, right? It's a disadvantage or an inconvenience. You don't want it. It is not intentional. Are you understanding the difference? Amputee is probably because of some disease or something where you had to do it. You had to remove it. You had no choice.